probably the negative was the red zone offense not finishing drives. The game could have been a lot more lopsided. You could tell with the total yards, almost 600 yards. We moved the ball a lot, but too many times we got stopped down there once and got a couple field goals. So other than that, good to get the 3-0 in the series. Someone said something like 100-point difference in the series. So I think that's neat for our fans, for our players, and should help in recruiting.
How have you been, I guess, your evaluation with the offense since the beginning of the season, especially after the first 2 games?
Well, I think we've gotten better, and I think the first 2 games, look at the first one, playing the best defense in the country, I think statistically, and I don't think anybody's really moved the ball on those guys. So, since those first 2 games, we've been a lot more efficient. We've been able to run the ball better as of late, and we played better up front. So it's good to see.
Does this week almost feel like the weeks before a bowl game, with the second bye week and the extended time off?
Not really. Feels like a bye week. So we just have to see another one. We don't treat it any different. Practice the same. Some of our coaches are out recruiting. We use the weekend actually as recruiting official visits. To get a start with that, with the mid-year signing day and the potential of losing a weekend, from the championship game.
It's no secret that both the offense and defense, just something's clicking. They look more motivated. They look almost more experienced from a coaching perspective. What do you notice when you look at them in practice and then when you see them on the field competing?
I think, they're getting really good coaching from their head coach. No, I just think sometimes teams take some time to gel. Again, the schedule helps too. We're obviously not playing Ohio State and UCF, so that's helped a little bit. And I just think they've come together and had some injuries early on. A lot of new guys were putting in. The left guard got here. I think the first week of the season. D'Lo. Got here I think late in the summer, so you've got some pieces with this portal stuff too that has almost made it like the NFL where almost free agent signees.
One of the aspects of Chris's game that's really improved this year is the lack of interceptions. To what do you attribute that?
Not throwing it to them as much. So that's decision making. That's not being a freshman anymore, and not throwing it to them. Helps when you're ahead too. We're ahead late in games more in year 1 and year 3, and so that reflects in our turnover margin a lot of times because you're not turning it over when you're ahead usually, and you're getting turnovers when they're trying to scramble at the end of the game. So that's helped also.
How do you teach a quarterback in general how to walk that line between being aggressive but also being smart and throwing it away?
You just gotta manage the situations during the game. Once we were up, there were some situations there where I'd tell them, like the first play, that we're going to take a shot down the field, but if it's not clearly open, check the ball down, like he did, on the first play of the series where he threw it to D'Lo for like no yards instead of forcing the ball downfield. So you're just continuing coaching the situations and the time of the game.
That was an FAU game. That was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, coming out from like our left to right. The first play of the series was 2 deep balls, and then after he fakes to D'Lo, and then D'Lo would be like the check down. So he could have forced it way downfield, but he didn't, and he probably would have a year ago.
You mentioned the running backs playing well recently. Coming into this year, did you expect to have that kind of effectiveness depth-wise from top to bottom with that unit?
Well, I didn't think we'd end up with this many guys playing, at specific times because of injuries. We've gone from, a starting running back not being there the next week a couple times. So, there's been a lot of games we haven't had Larry. There's been a lot of games we haven't had Malcolm. We haven't had BJ, obviously, at all. So, that's been a lot of opportunity for, some other guys to step up. James, who you just had in here, and Chauncey Mason, who at one point in camp was playing receiver for us. So.
We're getting to that point of the year where the coaching carousel is starting to heat up, and your name is going to be floated out there from books and other reports. Is your team at the point, because, you know, they've heard it before, where they know not to be affected by it, if they go on Twitter and they see, you know, the odds are that Lane Kiffin's gonna take the Arkansas job, or Lane Kiffin has interest in the FSU job?
I don't ever talk to him about it. I mean, I just think that's part of the business. Maybe I should, but I don't. I think they just know, and they're probably used to it because that just happened this time of year. And so, especially if you've been at those levels before and your teams are playing well, you know, then that's normal to happen. So I don't really think they care that much about it.
Statistics would indicate that your offensive line has been playing better over the last 2-3 games. Is that indicative of what you're seeing?
That is. I think the last couple weeks they've definitely have played better, played more aggressive, played more physical. Not as many negative runs. You know, we were just 3 weeks ago, we were 130th in stuff ratio out of 130 teams, you know, which is 0 negative yard runs dead last. So, you know, we really challenged them, and they've played better these last 2 weeks.
Did, along with the blocking, with the rotations of the running backs and all that stuff, how has that affected the pass blocking from that unit? Are they kind of interchangeable at this point? They're all doing well, or?
Yeah, they're doing fine. You know, a lot of we don't, you know, we're not pro style anymore, so that doesn't happen that much until about third down, you know, because so much stuff's RPO and movement. So, you know, that's not as big a criteria, you know, for the running back anymore as it used to be, or it is on Sundays.
The utilization of tight ends, it seemed more beginning of the year like a 2 tight end, now it's more Harrison's just gonna be on the field. Just an explanation on that, I guess?
Yeah, D'Lo. So, you know, the emergence of D'Lo has put us in 3 wide receivers more, you know, because he's the slot. So when John comes in, he goes out. And so him playing really well, you know, has put us in a lot more 11 personnel than 12 personnel, where, you know, we didn't know very much about him at the beginning of the year, so we were in 12 more.
That's a good problem to have, though, right? I mean, you've got 2 successful sets, right?
It's a good problem to have, Chuck. You're right.
I mean, I'm saying.
Isn't there that commercial like Captain Obvious? Like, Chuck, isn't that a good problem to have, that you have a lot of players making plays? No, Chuck, it sucks.
You haven't lost faith in John Rain, how about that?
No, and I don't know if I said this last week or not, but he got a year back next year, so that's awesome. You know, he come back and be the guy next year.
Who, John Ray?
Mm-hmm.
How was John Ray able to get a year back?
I don't make the rules.
Okay. He got a year back for medical.
Hey, they just put in a waiver and they said yes, so I'm not arguing with it.
Anybody else get a year back?
That's the only one that I know of.
I've got a year back.
That's good.
I lost a year.
I think in his first, you guys would, you know for sure. I think in his first year, he gets hurt within the first 4 games of the year and then doesn't return. And he was a true freshman, so I think that's when he got back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.